One of the most common questions that I actually get from people when they ask about my job, like it's a common interview question and an on-stage question is, what would you do if YouTube disappeared? What would you do if YouTube died tomorrow?
So like if YouTube died, what would you do? Like where would you move your stuff, or would you do a different job, or
like,
all encompassing?
It's always about like how much dependence we have on this platform.
On YouTube, sure.
And maybe someday YouTube's they change a rule that screws us over, or they disappear, or something happens like that. And my answer is always, YouTube is far too stable to be like overly focusing on that. I get it. It's a great economic question, but YouTube, I have a lot of trust in them right now.
Yeah.
And the answer always comes from looking at YouTube's competition, which is like, what are the alternatives to YouTube? Like if I'm going to go watch a video on the internet, I want to know what the new iPhone SE looks like. I'm just going to go on youtube.com and search iPhone SE. Or I'm just going to go to google.com and search iPhone SE, and it's going to show me a bunch of YouTube videos.
Or articles with embedded YouTube videos.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so the biggest competition really right now is Vimeo.
Yeah.
That's the biggest competition to YouTube?
Sort of. At least I feel like it used to feel like it.
I mean, there's the Netflixes and other stuff, but I'm just talking about like user-generated content, like regular people uploading videos online. Vimeo does exist.
Platform, yeah.
Exactly. And the reason that we bring up Vimeo is there was a headline or an article this week. I'm just going to read the headline, and maybe you can break this down a bit, because I thought this was crazy. Vimeo is telling creators to suddenly pay thousands of dollars or leave the platform.
Yeah.
What? I know that there's a pro account you can have on Vimeo.
Yeah, there's business and pro accounts. And actually, even the creators have accounts. And this is kind of news to me because of this article, but the prices there aren't too bad. I think the two main kind of like creator, not business charges are like $7 a month to $20 a month. So
I have one.
Do you?
Yeah.
Do you upload anything on Vimeo?
No, but I want to know what features you get for that. And you can like replace videos at the same URL on Vimeo. And I was like, that's a cool feature.
It is.
And then I never use it.
Yeah. Well, you don't use Vimeo at all,
Not
right?
actively. No.
So like, before we go into this, I just want to, Vimeo did used to be kind of that, it was like kind of what the non-mainstream people wanted to use instead of YouTube. And I was always one of those people. Do you remember Google videos?
Yes.
Me and my friend uploaded everything to Google videos, not YouTube, because, you know, I was that cool little rebel kid that wanted to do everything different. That bit me in the butt.
I do remember Vimeo had its biggest heyday in my memory as like the filmmakers YouTube, basically.
Everything I did in film school was uploaded to Vimeo.
All the compression looked better.
Oh, yeah.
All the videos in general playing back on Vimeo looked better. And that's where you'd find most people's like short film type projects and stuff.
And then I also kind of felt like, as just like an internet user, you go a little step further than that when YouTube was really cracking down on copyrighted music. When they used to not switch it, they used to just take all, like the amount of Ultimate videos I've created that all the music's gotten taken off of on YouTube was a lot. So you would upload to Vimeo. Vimeo became like the place to upload copyrighted stuff.
All of the Stevens Ultimate highlight reels that all feature, I think, Taylor Swift songs are all on Vimeo.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's true.
To me, back then, Vimeo was the less popular YouTube, but copyrighted music and generally, like you said, better compression, just better looking videos. So for like film students, it worked really, really well. Yeah. So that's still, I think, what Vimeo is to me now, because it hasn't been that relevant in my mind. Since then, I still go back and try and watch old videos, because some of the best old Callahan videos used to be on Vimeo.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. So going through this article, by the way, it's an article on The Verge. We'll put it in the show notes if you want everything. But there are two main examples in here that I wanted to bring up that really interest me and like was kind of outstanding. It seems like Vimeo they also do business accounts, which are ranging from around, I think, $50 to $75 a month. So I think they're pushing towards business stuff a lot. But the last time, though, I really heard Vimeo at all, really, in like the last decade, in terms of non-business but more creative side, was Jack Conte did an interview. He's the CEO of Patreon, and he was talking about, which I didn't realize, all the videos uploaded on Patreon are actually through Vimeo. Vimeo is just the default video hosting platform for Patreon.
Right.
And for some reason you don't know what Patreon is, website where you can pay monthly to support a creator. And a lot of times they wind up giving you exclusive access to something, whether that's extra videos or Q&As that they make on the channel, whether they upload stuff early.
Yep.
But pretty much it's way smaller amount of people watching, but you're paying to watch it. So it's a great way to support creators.
And it's like a really nice, like you can password protect individual videos. Like you can make it much more locked down than a YouTube video. So it's like, it made sense. Yeah. They built that really well.
Yeah, it works. So the partnership there, when I heard about that, seemed amazing to me because Patreon is awesome, but it focuses more on how to support the creators. And then Vimeo does have all the upload capabilities, but not a lot of people use it. So this felt like the perfect mesh to me.
Yeah.
But because of this mesh is where we're seeing now this story develop, which is essentially, I guess Vimeo is getting to the point where to them, these creators are using a lot more bandwidth they expected and they're charging them money. Problem is they're just kind of coming out of nowhere with these charges. So the first example, so there's a user on Patreon who said they were paying $200 a year and they were okay with that. It's a good quality platform. It works perfectly with Patreon, obviously. They had 117 subscriber-only videos, each of them averaging around 150 views, and their most viewed video was 815. On March 11th, Vimeo sent her an invoice that said her bandwidth was within the top 1% of Vimeo users and that if she wanted to keep hosting her content on the site, she'd need to upgrade to a custom plan quoted at $3,500 a year. And she was given 1 week to upgrade, decrease her bandwidth, or leave Vimeo.
Wait, okay.
There's a lot to unpack.
Yeah, wow.
I think,
okay.
Or a couple things really stick out.
So to end up in the top 1% of Vimeo users, 100 videos averaging 150 views puts you in the top one. What? Really? That's all you have to do? I kind of don't believe.
I know Vimeo is small, but that seems
that seems
insane.
Off. That seems like she's like watching billions of hours of videos from one account. Like someone else has a login to her account and is just watching a million things.
Well, this is people watching her stuff. Like she's getting charged based on how many people watch her content.
That's it.
So that $3,500 for, I mean, I doubt the 117 videos were all in 1 year, but $3,500 a year, 150 views average. She's never broken 1,000, which for Patreon, those are great numbers. Like if you're thinking about somebody paying $5 a pop for each of those, like, and then getting the cut, that's fantastic. But the fact that they just give her 1 week, $3,500 a year, or she can just leave Vimeo.
Yeah, that's pretty bad look. And that's another one of those decisions we've talked about on the podcast before where you're like, as you are Vimeo writing out this email, you're like, yeah, this is going to suck. This is going to make a lot of people really mad. And there's going to be a lot of articles written about how heartless this is, but we got to do what we got to do. That's crazy. $3,000 a year.
Top 1% though, just really, it can't mean that Vimeo is doing great, at least on the creative side. I know nothing about their business side, and I just want to make that super clear here. If they've been around for this long, something over there is obviously doing okay. But the creative side of this, that's brutal.
Yeah, I feel like I get the B2B part of Vimeo better now than this weird attempt at charging creators. That's crazy.
Yeah, so I mean, and they were charging a bit, but she said she was paying $200 a year, now going up to $3,500 a year.
Which is probably more than you made from the Patreon videos that you were creating in the first place.
Possibly. I don't know exactly how the math checks out or what their levels of everything were. But then there was the other kind of bigger example of this was, do you know the YouTube channel, Channel 5? It used to be, or it's the guy from All Gas No Breaks, I believe.
Oh, no.
He's kind of like goes to a lot of big events, a lot of them political, and kind of has like a funny news report interview style. I guarantee you've seen some of the interviews he's done. His name's Andrew, and his stuff's really funny. And his YouTube channel is huge. He's got like, it's a new channel ever since he split and getting over 1 million subscribers, probably 1 to 2 million views a piece. But he releases everything on Patreon early to a pretty big Patreon audience. So he, the other day, logged onto Patreon, had 200 messages and lost 500 patrons, and all of them were complaining that none of their content was there anymore. So Vimeo took hostage, essentially, of all of his videos, and then told him for a 2-year plan, he's going to have to pay $16,000 to get his stuff. Now, his stuff, these are a lot more users, a lot more people watching. His videos are generally like 30 to 40 minutes, so it clearly is way, way more bandwidth.
Yeah.
But $16,000, it's not even pay it now or you'll lose it. It's gone. I've already basically pissed off all of your patrons, and if you want it back,
What kind
here
of
it
a
is.
weird backwards policy is that?
It's
That's the
insane.
strangest. The thing is, like, when you're signing up for Patreon, you just think you're uploading to Patreon's video player. Like, you don't.
I'm so glad you said that. When this happened, he first contacted Patreon, and then when they told him Vimeo is the one who did it, he said, I don't know what that is. He's just been default uploading to Patreon the whole time.
Exactly.
And didn't know it was embedded.
Yeah, that's how well they've plugged in. Is like it's really well integrated, and that's why they went with Vimeo. But now, people, when Vimeo makes a crazy change like this, Patreon looks terrible.
Patreon looks really bad in this,
What a
unfortunately,
weird-
which it's a shame. Patreon's all we don't have a Patreon, but I really, really like what they're doing and a way to help creators. So essentially, luckily, he has all of the videos already. They're also all mostly on his YouTube channel now because he was just releasing things early. The problem is he said his favorite part about Patreon is having the more exclusive comments and reactions, stuff he can read a little easier. And if he gets rid of all of these, he loses all of that. If he has to re-upload everything, he loses all the comments on old videos and stuff like that, and everyone gets spammed on his patrons. And he's lost over 500 paying patrons.
So this is one of those. This is another one of those head-scratching decisions. Do you think Vimeo did the math and they were like, yeah, some people are going to pay, and this will be worth it? $16,000 for what, a 2-year plan?
Yeah.
So $8,000 a year. God, for what? I mean, what are you getting extra out of uploading to Vimeo other than maybe a couple special, like, obviously it's branded videos and certain privacy protections that Vimeo offers, and still maybe copyright music protection, but $8,000.
Well, I don't even know what they do with copyright stuff anymore because that was old Vimeo.
Yeah,
I'm sure they're getting hit with that because Twitch is getting hit really hard with that as well. It basically feels like the password protection, and YouTube can embed into things just as easily. It feels like if YouTube added password protection, because you can't just unlist a video and put it on Patreon, because then people can share that link and it'll go everywhere. So it makes it much harder. I mean, I didn't even think of this, but it feels like YouTube could kind of squash this if they did a password protected or account specific linked.
So this is the thing. This is why YouTube doesn't have to evolve as quickly, is because they don't have to do anything now. Vimeo is killing it all by themselves by deciding to now charge people $8,000 a year for a couple thousand views or whatever they're generating, which is like, obviously the question of will YouTube ever die will come from like a competitor that comes up, doesn't make those type of mistakes, and eats YouTube lunch in some type of way, and does like probably something better than what YouTube does in order to actually convince people to switch. Because if you just built another YouTube today, even if it's feature for feature the same thing, there's still no reason to switch. It kind of reminds me of trying to get people to switch like cell phone carriers. A lot of people just don't want to switch. They're like, I don't know, I like my phone number, my phone works fine. You're offering me the same data plan, but on a different carrier. You have to be better than what exists to get people to switch.
Yeah, something has to be better.
And should that thing ever arrive, it will be so incredibly obvious that we'll have time to react to it. And clearly Vimeo ain't it.
Thanks so much for watching the clip. Waveform's actually going to launch its own EV, and we just need investment. So if you just click that big red button under it's subscribe, that's French for invest. You might as well click it and you can just invest in our new EV.
Yes, so the product's great. It's basically just a Cybertruck and a Roadster and a Lucid Air all in one. It just is.
10,000 miles of range.
It just is.
4-minute wireless charging up to 200 meters away.
And we're also going to build our own wireless network.
Yeah, and we come in the front trunk when you order it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Every single one.
Click the red button. I don't know why you wouldn't.
How could you not?
Imagine free investment.
Imagine not investing in this and then it blows up. Can you really afford to miss out on this?
You can't. I promise you can't.
Hit it.